This is Austin St. John, Jason, the original Red Ranger. You are watching the Morphin Network.
This Morphin Network video is sponsored by Ranger Stop Convention and Ranger Stop and Pop. Have you ever wanted to see all your favorite Power Rangers together in one epic convention? Go to Ranger Stop! Ranger Stop and Pop! August 27th to the 29th, 2021! Atlanta, Georgia! Ranger Stop 8! November 11th to the 14th! Orlando, Florida! Get your tickets now! Carson's Corner is a black LGBTQ-owned small business. They sell merchandise and apparel on pop culture franchises such as Dragon Ball, King of the Hill, Sailor Moon, and of course and most importantly, Power Rangers. If you're interested in getting their amazing merch, be sure to check them out at carsoncorner.com. Link will be down below.
Saber in your hand is a pen to write it down. What's to save this world? 誰にも見られず咲く花は無償の愛。ひそやかな優しさは人知れず咲いた散る仮面に隠れた涙を見せずに Almighty 本に書かれた知恵と勇気を掴んで Almighty 信じた方へ動かせるさ未来人はいつも物語を生み出すのさ Saber in your hand is a pen to write it down. Words to save this world.
Hello everyone, welcome to our review of the final episode of Kamen Rider Saber. Wow, can't believe it's been a whole year since this season started. Wow, things were so intense. We got Huma Gears finally making peace with humans. We got Ghost Riders coming back, and people were really apprehensive. Oh boy, here we go. Final episode of Kamen Rider Saber. And of course, I am your humble host, Kamen Rider Zero. What did you guys think of this episode, and what did you guys think of this season? This is so intense. And for those of you wondering, yes, Fox will show up later today. I don't know how long it'll take, but he will show up today. I guarantee it. Okay, so here we go. Final episode. And of course, next week we'll be reviewing Revice episode 1. Hence the pink intro. But we're not here to talk about Kamen Rider Revice. We're here to talk about Kamen Rider Saber. More specifically, the final episode. Episode 48. A new chapter opens. Oh boy. This was honest. Okay, let me be honest. We didn't really need this episode because I think if they modified the pacing, they could have just combined the last bit of the previous episode with bits of this episode and call it a day. But it is what it is. You got to promote the new season. And boy, did it do a good job introducing the new season? We'll get right into it. But YouTube, Facebook, comment section. I hope you're enjoying your Labor Day weekend. And we're kicking it off with this review. And let us know in the comments what you thought of the episode. And, of course, what you thought of the season. Let's go. Okay, so first things first. We first see our characters enjoying some R&R. Sadly, not on Aquatar, but not everyone can afford an Equation summer vacation when there's a pandemic going on. But it's summer season, so, and of course they defeated Storius, so it's time to enjoy some rest and relaxation. And of course they go into some of their plans. So we already got Ren globetrotting, trying to become a better swordsman, and we see Ogami studying for an important test, and we got Tetsuo going back to being a swordsmith, and Yuri got a new bonsai tree that he wants to keep as a pet. So that's lovely. It's always great to have it as a pet. Okay, but moving onwards, Rintaro contacts May, and he's like, May, there's something I gotta tell you. And of course, everyone's like, oh my god, is he finally gonna do it? Is he finally gonna do it? Is he finally gonna do it? He's like, May, and of course, the Shindai shows like, guys, what are you doing? Anyways, Rintaro, we need you to come with us. We got a score to settle, and we need you to come with us. Meanwhile, so of course, we all know what's happening. And of course, he's gonna get blocked so hard. But elsewhere, we see a person with a book with a bunch of torn pages drop a certain green stamp, and when the stamp starts glowing, this grasshopper monster shows up. Now, of course, this monster is called a Dead Man, which is one of the monsters from the next season, Kamen Rider Revice. So there's that, and of course, this is what we're going to be facing off against in our final episode. So you got Rintaro and Ryoga about to start fighting, and of course, Reika explains to me that some things can only be some words can only be truly spoken through the clashing of swords. However, we don't see this fight because we cut straight to this one guy getting an autograph from Toma because he's a huge fan. Who is this guy? Well, we'll find out. But Chekhov's gun, he does have some significance to the plot. And of course, we cut to them already ending the fight. We don't see how it happens. But somehow, some way, Rintaro wins. And all of us, we just want to see how it happened. Because that's kind of important. How did he win? But of course, May, being the peacekeeper, and of course, okay, so Ryoga is like, okay, so Rintaro, I want you to be the new Master Logos. There's no one better to fill that position. And of course, Rintaro says, honestly, I don't want to be a Master Logos. And honestly, I think we need to change the hierarchy at the Sword of Logos anyways. And Ryoga says, you know what? I think it's about time we broke certain traditions because I've seen the error of my ways. And he looks at May, and she looks at him. And he looked at May, and she looked at him. And he looked at May, and she looked at him. And then she smiled. And then Reika got really angry. And of course she says, water on the bridge. Let's all make friends. And of course, Reika's like, how dare you touch my brother! I always find it incredibly hilarious how Reika gets so angry that whenever May makes any kind of friendship with Ryoga, and I always find it interesting how it's especially May, that she gets angry at. It's like she's had a thing for May since day one. We're talking Kendall versus Shelby from Dino Charge, except this is a persisting thing. And of course, we all know that May got robbed of being a Kamen Rider. And if she wasn't robbed, I'm pretty sure that, at least she would have been seen as an equal, but it is what it is. Meanwhile, Toma and Kento reminisce about their journey. And of course, Kento even acknowledges how when he saw his father's ghost, he did say, "I hope you find your happiness someday." And of course, Toma says, "Listen, you spend your entire life trying to protect me. Now I want you to do you, boo boo. I want you to find your own happiness, whether it's with me or without me. I don't know what you do. I don't care what you do. Just be happy." But of course, their sunbathing is interrupted when the dead man starts attacking this girl, and of course the two of them transform, try to save her, do the thing they've always done all season. But I can't help but notice that whenever they attack that dead man, this girl feels damaged. Like you could tell she's recoiling from pain. And whenever the dead man gets attacked, and I'm wondering, I know that this girl's not the one who summoned the dead man, but is the dead man somehow empathically linked to someone that the contract holder is like someone that the contract holder cares about? Like for example, if Rintaro formed a contract with the dead man, does that mean that May would feel pain if someone fought that dead man instead of Rintaro himself? That's what I want to know. And when we watch Kamen Rider Revice and try to watch and review it, I'm actually looking forward to seeing if that is actually going to be a thing, because that adds an interesting angle. Because we've had past seasons of Kamen Rider like Deno and O's, where there was a certain concern where if you hurt the monster of the day, you could be hurting the person that it's associated with. Heck, even in Saber, when the humans turned it into Magids, like if you kill the Magid, you kill the human. So, but here it's a little bit different because it's not the contract holder that feels pain, but someone who cares about them. At least that's my inference based on what I'm seeing in the episode. So, let's see where this goes. If that's the case, that's really interesting, and I would love to see more of that in Kamen Rider Revice. But while they are holding off the dead man, they get interrupted by a very loud black and pink dinosaur-like figure. Yes, it's Kamen Rider Vice. And of course, he's running towards the monster, going like, "Yes, I'm free. I'm home. I'm alive. It is all a miracle. Yes, yes, yes. I can win. I can do this." Yeah, I know. Dragon Ball Z reference for the first time in 2 months? Okay, so, but yes, so he somehow farts himself into a flying kick. And thank God Fox isn't here to make a Rising Hopper reference, but it is what it is. And of course, everyone could smell it from way over here, and it's nasty. And of course, he ends up falling. He fights it off a little bit at first, but it kind of overpowers him by hopping around so much, and he falls over himself and he farts again, and no one's having it. This is disgusting. I don't know who came up with this writer, but it's an abomination. And of course, a certain pink venom-looking dinosaur dude goes, "Hey, you get back here, Vice. I let you out for 1 second, and this is what you're up to. You're causing trouble again, aren't you?" And of course, he wrestles him off, and everyone's all confused because the dead man escaped, and now you got this pink guy wrestling this black guy. And that did not sound as fun as I thought it would, but but the pink guy de-transforms. Yes, Kamen Rider Revi de-transforms, and Kamen Rider Vice turns back into a ghost, and he's like, "Hi, what's up? My name's Icky, and this is my dead man. His name is Vice." They're like, "Wait, a dead man? What's going on?" So going back to the bookstore, they go over why the monster might be attacking this girl. But actually no. When Saber de-transforms, she recognizes him as Toma, and turns out she herself is a huge fan of Toma, and so they go back to the bookstore to figure out what's going on. Why is this monster attacking her? But in the meantime, she wants Toma to autograph a book for her because she has a picture of two friends of herself with two friends. One of them's going away, and Toma recognizes one of those two friends. So we have this mystery going on involving these two friends. So Toma and Kento decided to go their separate ways in order to figure out everything, by dividing and conquering. So Toma meets their friend who's actually leaving Japan to go abroad to study and play football. Presumably, it wasn't quite clear what he was going for, but he's dressed like a football player, so I'm guessing he's going abroad to play football. And of course, the other friend is met by Kento, and he mentions how he met this demon-looking thing that promised that he and his two friends could be there together if he makes a contract with him. And the demon ends up giving him this Vice stamp. Yes, these gimmick toys are called Vice stamps, and he asks Kento to hold on to it. Meanwhile, Rintaro wants to ask May something, but she's not having any of it because she just figured out a way to help both friends, and so she runs off while he's making the sad pouty face because Rintaro can't win today. Oh, so sad. Okay. Okay. So moving onward. So the two friends meet up, and the girl, she's mad at both of them. It's like, how dare you not talk to each other? You guys are both being dumb. Just talk to each other. Don't be jerks about you leaving and you not wanting to say goodbye. But of course, they get attacked by the dead man, and of course, who shows up but Icky? And when he transforms using his Vice Revice driver. I don't know, Vice stamp driver. I don't know what the belt is called yet. All I know is that I'm getting it, and if I do, I will now be the owner of 16 consecutive Rider Seasons belts. I don't know how it came to this. I'm a broke guy. I'm surprised that I managed to accumulate an entire decade worth of Rider belts and a few extras, but here we are. I got a wizard driver. I got a build driver. I got a Kiva belt somehow, and of course I got the 50th anniversary Revice driver, whatever it's called, and I can't wait to get it. But when he uses it, he becomes Kamen Rider Revi, and out of his body comes out Kamen Rider Vice, which is Vice's rider form. And honestly, he doesn't look too different from his civilian ghost form. You just add a few armor parts on top of him, and that's pretty much it. And out of nowhere, this guy, George, allegedly his name is recording the fight, and he's amused by the fact, oh, look, this is the new Reiwa Rider. Isn't it cool to see Reiwa Riders working together? This is so awesome. And you can't help but notice that his phone case has all of the Hesse Riders on it, while he has plushy keychains of 01 and Saber. And I'm thinking, where the heck did he get the Saber one? Because Saber is relatively new season, and he's supposed to be incognito and whatnot. But of course, he comments that it's cool to see all these riders working together. Ain't that cool? So of course, the two of them are taking on the monster, Vice makes a fool of himself. So Revi uses another Vice stamp, the Megalodon, in order to transform into his Megalodon form. And yes, things are looking a little too magenta for my taste, but it is what it is. It's a little too magenta for me for very specific Honore reasons. But hey, I'm more surprised by the fact that we actually see one of his side forms in Kamen Rider Saber and not on the first episode of Revice. Maybe in the summer film of Saber if he had one, but in the finale for Saber, that is crazy. I never would have imagined that. Not even Ghost got to use his Newton form when he was in Drive. X-Aid didn't get to use Hitotsu robots when he was in Ghost. So, but then again, Bill did use Gorilla Diamond in X-Aid. So, who am I to judge? Okay, so as soon as they transform, you immediately got Vice making fourth wall breaks, telling the audience about, look how cool we are. We're kicking butt, and we got these new rider forms. So naturally, hold on, give me a second. Oh boy. Okay, but yeah. So I hope this isn't going to be a running gag because it seems a little too frequent in this episode of Saber. And if it happens in Revice more often, which you know it will, I feel like I'm not going to like Vice moving forward. Please prove me wrong, Toei. Anyways, so using their finishing move, their Vice stamp finisher, their Stampede, I guess it's called. Get it? Stampede. They use a flash attack where they're both moving super fast, attacking the monster from multiple angles, and of course, Saber and Espada finish it off with their finisher moves, and they didn't even need to use the Wonder Almighty book. So once all is said and done, both friends show the one that's going abroad. They both got an autographed copy of Toma's book for him because they wanted to do something nice for him, and they all come to the agreement that yes, we are all best friends. It doesn't matter if we're abroad because our friendship is forever. And considering that Toma and Luna were separated by entire dimensions for 15 years, I should say so. Oh, and of course, you got Kento with the amnesia, and then Kento with the whole void thing before he turned into Caliber. Then there's him actually being Caliber. Jeez, I can't believe I actually had an emo phase at one point. Anywho, so of course, Kento gives Icky the Vice stamp that the one kid gave him earlier. He's like, awesome, I got a new Vice stamp. But of course, George is like, oh, this is nice, but it's not one of the 10 we're looking for. See, we're looking for 10 very specific Vice stamps. So while this isn't the one we're looking for, it's great that you collected it. Hey kids, collect them all. McDonald's Happy Set! Collect them all, or your parents don't love you. But of course, there's the classic, don't say no, just buy more. Don't say no, just buy more. You have got a credit card, and we got a lot of merchandise. You know you want to complete them all, so come on, you want to get them all. Don't say no, just buy more. Okay, I'm done. My throat is broken because of my new job, and it's really hard speaking really loud for 8 hours. So of course, Vice starts coming out from Icky's mouth, and it looks really disgusting. And of course, two of them are having conversation. And as it turns out, that when they're unmorphed, no one can actually see Vice except for Icky. So everyone's like, where's Vice? And of course, Rintaro trying to be the cool guy in vain. He's like, oh yeah, he's over there. Where? There. Even though he's actually in that direction. But of course, hold on, give me a second. But of course, Yuri is able to see him no problem, and he uses his flash attack to dispel him. Of course, this is played off as a joke. And of course, Rentaro's like, May, I have to tell you something. And she's like, what? What is it that you have to tell me all episode? Just spit it out. And he's like, I want you to be my family. I'm done. 48 episodes. I'm done. I want you to be my Rintaro. We already are family. Haven't you figured that out? We've been like family for a year now. Not what he meant. I'm just cringing at this. Okay. Moving on to the next scene. Okay. So we have a new, not coronation ceremony, but more of a reopening of the Sword of Logos. Yes, that's right. Somehow in this show, the pandemic ended and we get to reopen everything. Welcome to Universal Studios Japan. Welcome to Disney World Tokyo. Welcome to Lucky Land featuring JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. No, it's the Sword of Logos. Pandemic in real life is still happening. People are being dumb on both sides. Insert political comment here. Insert me getting canceled here. Okay, here we go. But for real though, they reopened the Sword of Logos, having a new system where there is no hierarchy. We're all going to be buddy, and we're all going to basically. I think it's Knights of the Round Table. I think the best way to put it is they're going to become Knights of the Round Table, and of course, Ren was able to come back in time to see the coronation happen, and that's lovely. And of course, we see Ryoga smile at May because it's thanks to her that a lot of this stuff happened. Nevertheless, she was still robbed. Let's be honest. But because he smiled at May, someone's not happy. Someone's very no bueno. I'm gonna kill you, May. How dare you make my brother smile? Only I get to make him smile. So everyone's enjoying their group hug except for salty little palm top Reika, who's just sizzling right there in the corner. And of course, we do see what happens with some of the characters. We got Yuri and Tetsuo going back to swordsmithing, and Ogami passed a test to become a teacher. And when I found out that Ogami became a teacher, like, I'm gonna be honest, I want to cry. Like, I don't. If you've read the Kamen Rider Buster manga, honestly, like, you could have just had that 2-second clip in this episode and just be done, and I would be happy. Okay, just those 2 seconds, make those 2 seconds the entire episode here, and I would give this episode a perfect 10 because I actually like the Kamen Rider Buster manga. If you haven't read it, definitely check it out. But of course, we got Toma going back to the bookstore, and Kent just said, I know what will make me happy. I want to run this bookstore with you. We're going to be best friends, and we're gonna run the store together, and we're gonna keep Luna's memory alive. And of course, Tomo's like, yeah, that's awesome. And then Kento just opens the door. A bunch of kids start flooding in, and who else shows up but May and Ren wearing a matching outfit. And of course, Kento gave a look of shock, which implies one thing. Yes, May was no longer robbed to some extent. The sun got her northern wind. Or more accurately, the northern wind got his son. And they all lived happily ever after. And of course, the book closes on the story, and we see the pins of all the characters. So we got Toma and Kanto together because they're running the bookstore. We got Rintaro and Mei together because obviously they're a couple. You got Tetsuo and Yuri together because you got a sword and a swordsmith. And of course, you got Ogami with little Sora. He's so adorable. He's like Milo from Legend of Korra. And of course, that's the end of Kamen Rider Saber episode 48. A new story opens. Sorry, a new chapter opens. And of course, this also means this has been the final episode of Kamen Rider Saber. So, guys, what do you think of the episode? Likes, dislikes, write in the comments. And of course, because it's the final episode, what did you guys think of the season as a whole? Did you like the entire season? Did you dislike it? What were some of your likes and dislikes? What were some things you'd want to change? And of course, what are the kind of things you are looking forward to seeing in Kamen Rider Revice next week? Okay, so I'm going to move on to my review. Hopefully a certain someone shows up, because I've been stalling for as long as possible, but, show must go on. Okay, so this episode, again, it felt a little lackluster to me because of the whole epilogue thing. I'm not a fan of the whole epilogue thing that some of these seasons do, where you pretty much conclude the plot in the penultimate or anti-penultimate episode, and then you got an episode or two of just a new plot just suddenly happens, and somehow we're going to conclude the story on that. Even if it does introduce the next writer, I think there are better ways of doing it. I think, I honestly think that Kamen Rider Forze had the best final episode, where they just briefly introduce Kamen Rider Wizard at the end in a subtle fashion, like very subtle fashion. Like, I like that. With that said, as far as the episode, oh my God, who's that dinosaur guy?
You didn't think you was gonna do this without me, bruh.
No, I did not. Do you know how long I've been stalling?
I am like Gandalf from Return to Kings. I
feel like Peggy from The Mask. Just waiting for Dorian to show up.
Did you miss me? Go,
I can't hear
you. Not. No, I guess not. Anyways, guys, look, I was not gonna miss this finale. You think it's been hell. I ain't gonna front for these last few weeks, but I was not going to miss this. No way. Anyways, Psycho Fox is back. Henshin, my boys. Where are we here now?
Okay, so I was in the middle of giving my 2 cents on the episode.
Okay.
And then hopefully you will give your 2 cents on the episode, and then the both of us will give our 2 cents on the whole season.
Oh.
So since the season's finally over. Okay, so I'm not a fan of the whole leaving out the final episode or 2 episodes to just make a completely brand new plot thread. Just to introduce, even if it's just to introduce the next writer. I didn't like it when they did it with Kuga. I was meh when they did it with W. I hated it when they did it with Drive and Ghost. Let's see. like when they did it with Build when in the X8 episode, at least the main plot of X8 was still happening.
Right.
Like, props to that. And like Bill just happens to show up. So that is one of my biggest critiques of this episode. Based on the subtle clues, I really hope that in Revice, when the heroes damage a dead man, damage will be inflicted not to the contract holder but to a loved one of the contract holder, because you know how in sometimes W, definitely in Saber, whenever like you got someone who's contracted with the monster, like, and the monster gets damaged, the actual person gets damaged.
Yeah.
Well, like based on the clues I'm seeing, at least I think they're clues, because otherwise that would be a waste of a Chekhov's gun. I'm thinking that in Revice, instead of the actual contract holder being hurt when the dead man gets hurt, I think it's going to be a loved one of the contract holder. So if Rintaro, for example, was a contract holder with a dead man, like instead of Rintaro suffering damage, it would be May that suffers damage.
Right.
Yeah. So I hope that's something that will happen. George was funny. I like George. He was pretty funny. Vice, not a great first impression, in my opinion, because he's okay. I like the whole Eddie Venom dynamic that they've been doing with Ren and Disaster, and I know they're trying to bring it back for Icky and Vice, but honestly, I don't honestly. I'm not enjoying Vice as much as Disaster though. And part of it is because of the frequent fourth wall breaks. I hope it's not trying to pull it in a Deadpool reference into a Venom reference, but I feel like they did it a little too much in the Saber episode, and I'm worried they're gonna do it a lot more when they actually get to Revice.
Right.
I hope they don't do that. I am curious to see more of the bathhouse in the future, but back to the episode. I feel like this was a standard filler episode, even in the plot itself. Like again, going back to the Drive final episode, at least Drive and Ghost teaming up was part of the actual plot. We're like, oh, Ghost is dealing with this issue, and Drive happens to show up in his, because this is Drive's season, and it's like, well, since you're having this issue and I'm a police officer, I may as well help you. And oh, by the way, I'm a Kamen Rider. Wait, you're a writer too? Okay, let's team up. But here it just straight out of nowhere. But George is the most interesting aspect of the episode, in my opinion, just because of the fact that
you mean Kamen Rider Reiwa era #1 fanboy?
Exactly. I want to see how far he's gonna take his fanboyishness, because keep in mind, you got President Kogami. You got President Kogami in Kamen Rider O's, who loves Birthday so much that he wanted to make his own movie remake of Kamen Rider, the original, with Eiji Hino as the main character, in episode 27 and 28 in honor of the 40th anniversary of the show and the 1000th episode. So we took it to that place. I hope we don't get any Narutake moments, and if we did, Narutake had better show up for real. He's such a weird character in Decade, and he only got even weirder in Gaim. But seriously though, I don't know what I could say about this episode. It's like trying to decide whether Measure for Measure is a comedy or a tragedy. There's no good answer for that one. So this episode, 8 out of 10. If they just had those 2 minutes where Ogami becomes a teacher, and make those 2 minutes the entire episode, I would have given this episode a 10, because at least we got a finality for one of the characters that didn't fizzle out. But this episode just felt like it fizzled. I mean, you even have this whole rematch between Rintaro and Ryoga that just didn't happen. It's like watching Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where we
No,
could've seen Jay and Jax fight Sindel, but instead we got Raiden playing ballet
How
with a
dare
bunch
you?
of
How
Zatarans.
dare you reference that piece of trash movie? Which you
I'm
should
sorry. That's what I'm sorry, but that specific scene,
SoundCloud.com/Gaming. Listen to it.
that specific scene from Annihilation is what this fight between Rintaro and Ryoga felt like, because we could have seen something really cool and promising, and it just happened off screen. You know, that's the thing that bothers me. And
I get you on that. That pissed me off too. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna have freaking Rintaro and Rio finally squash their beef. A few moments later. Okay, I'm sorry. What? Anyways, what did you give this episode anyway?
I'm torn between giving it a 7 or an 8, because there are some elements I like, but it's just as a final episode just doesn't work for me. Like,
and you wonder why I said last week's episode was the final episode. I told you, but no,
because it's not the final episode.
It kind of was.
It should have been. Look, man. This is basically Kuga all over again. Episode 48 of Kuga should have been the final episode.
Don't listen. Kuga was a great season with an awful final episode. I will say, and for the Heisei era fanboys, I love Kuga, but good lord, that ending was trash. I'll leave it at that. And not just the
you know what I'm talking about.
But all right, I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead and give your grade, and I'm gonna go ahead and give mine.
I'm pretty much in the precipice between a 7 and an 8, because this episode could have been good. They could have done so much with the episode, even given how good the ending was in the previous episode. But, you know, we had better epilogue episodes in the past.
Let me try to persuade you. First, let me get this out the way. I know it wasn't here last week. I'm automatically just going to give the penultimate, which in my opinion is the season finale. The season finale, a 10 out of 10. Loved it. If y'all follow me on Twitter, I congratulate Toei for that one spot where they had all the kids and adults talking about their favorite stories growing up. Look, say what you want about Toei, about the whole YouTube algorithm and stuff like that. Hi, YouTube, by the way. I will still say that scene made me cry, because Saber finished up during a global pandemic. And I have to give Toei credit for that. I gave Toei credit for the last 2 episodes of 01 because reasons, but y'all know, power to the people. Last week's episode, I loved it because it's like, even though we're all growing through the global pandemic, as everyone knows, that which we can't say because YouTube's might demonetize us, I'll just say thank you, Toei. Automatic 10. Oh, just for that, automatic 10. I'm a little disappointed about the Ultra Instinct that Toma got, because it was just group Ultra Instinct, but I digress. Now to this episode. I laughed. I was mad. And I was pretty good. Why? Because Rintaro and May finally hooked up at the end, even though he didn't say, I like you, I want this. Which I'm pretty sure everyone and their mamas, including the characters, were like,
he's like, May, I want you to be my family.
It's been a long day without you.
But we're already family, all of us together.
And Vin Diesel pulls up. I had to do it.
Oh, Kamen Rider Superhero Senki featuring the Furious Gang. It's like
Kamen Rider Diesel shows up.
Like freaking Diesel. Yeah, Kamen Rider Diesel shows up. And then no. Kamen Sentai Diesel Rangers. And then you got Zenkaiser being like, is he with you? And then Saber's like, I thought he was with you. It's like, no, I'm with the both of you because we're family.
Family.
We are but us. Da, 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 da.
Okay. Let me finish up. So, yes, I was upset about the whole Rio and Rentaro fight because I'm like, all right, because these two were rivaling. They were trying to sell the score. They had unfinished business.
Yeah, best swordsman of the North versus the best swordsman of the South.
Yeah, so we're gonna see who is the defending champion of the Soul Society. I mean the Sword of Logos. At this point, it should be called the Sword Society because legit there is no Master Logos. You have Sophie, our boy Yuri, Rio, and Rentaro running the Soul Society now. So I will whatever. I like the fights. I like that this is more of a Kento and Toma. Kento and Toma focused episode because it's like
I'd say it's more of a Kento focused episode.
Yeah, because they're about to make that new Kamen Rider Saber movie where he's gonna get Super Saiyan God form too.
Yeah, the V next film where he gets Arabian Nights, a book that is basically a repaint of Primitive Dragon, and he's going to get a Siren book. So
yeah, it looks like he's about to go Super Saiyan God now too, since Toma and Rentaro went Super Saiyan God. And there you go.
Watch, there'll be another V-Cinix film that's going to be about Ren using disaster power or something.
Well, I mean, there's Psycho Crusher 2 episodes ago, so I wouldn't complain. Anyways, overall though, if we're talking about just it being filler, yes, it's a filler episode. Did I have fun with it? Yes, I had fun with it.
I had a little bit of fun with it.
I had fun with it. I like Vice. Did he leave a good impression? Probably not. But me personally, I thought it was okay. I like it. I like the ending, how all the kids come in, stuff like that.
Yeah. I had no problem with the ending. The last 5 minutes, I had no problem with.
Yeah. So overall, you know what? I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It's definitely not as strong as the last 5 episodes we had to go through of us crying that one of our characters was going to die. And the Shin dies.
I want to say one more time that part where Ogami passed the test to become a teacher.
Oh yeah,
I cried a little bit, and again, if just those 2 minutes of the episode was the entire episode, I wouldn't even just give it a 10 out of 10. I would have given it 11 because if you read the if you read the Kamen Rider Buster manga, because okay, you want me to spoil like the first chapter?
No, because I am actually going to read the Kamen Rider Buster manga. So no.
Okay, all I'm gonna say is pay attention to who the previous Buster was before Ogami, and you will understand why I cried at this scene.
Okay, but I think if there's one thing that is for sure, before we go into our review of the season, which I'm gonna make it very quick. Let's just put this right here.
Yeah. She got
robbed big time.
Yeah. And I accuse Reika of being the one to make the theft because Reika was the one who had it in for her since Jump Street.
Yeah. So with that being said, let's talk about. Oh wait, are we gonna talk about the whole season as a whole now, or like on the next episode?
Now.
Okay, I'm gonna make this very quick. First arc was okay. I liked it. I liked the ending. Second arc got better as it was progressing because everything was just stupid. Why are you taking the side of this one chick who none of y'all have ever met before, who looks sus as all get down? And she don't give a damn about kids. Why are y'all all of a sudden heel turning kind of to take out your one friend who literally saved the world?
And he saved a human that turned into a Magid right in front of you.
Like after seeing a Magid turn back into a human after they being possessed, you would have thought everyone's like, hey, you know what? Toma might be onto something. We kind of jumped the bone, accusing him and stuff like that. Innocent till proven guilty. No, none of these fools did. It pissed me off. Don't get me wrong. one by one, our favorite characters, started pulling up. Be like, you know what? Look, fight me, and maybe you're right. And then obviously, power of friendship anime bullcrap happens. Toma then becomes Super Saiyan God with Elemental Dragon. Then goes to Super Saiyan God level 2 after that. But I'll go get into that on how that happened. And then after that, then Ritaro's like, after who should have went to May the entire time, face turns, becomes a baby face again after being the Soul Society's puppet. And I'm keeping it PG because, hi, YouTube. And the only person who doesn't face turn and kind of goes heel for a while is Ren. Makes no sense until the third arc, which makes a ton of sense. It makes a ton of sense afterwards. But other than that, it was just twists and turns and just shank to the one thing we were all wanting, and that was for May to become a Kamen Rider. Don't get me wrong, May did save the world.
There. The hits were there. Like, we got the Charlie whiteboard and everything.
For those, while I'm talking, I'm going to look up the Charlie whiteboard just in case people don't know what we're referencing real quick. But other than that, it's like, it was written in the stars for her to be a Kamen Rider. Again, don't get me wrong.
Even the outro had the 3 riders.
Listen, don't get me wrong.
Dancing.
Don't get me wrong. She did help save the world in the final episode when writing that giant email and stuff like that. Like, I will give May that. I will give her that she deserves that W. However, we all want her to be a Kamen Rider. Every Kamen Rider fan, we are literally Charlie from Always Sunny. It's right there. Overall, though, the third arc is the best part of the entire show. I love the third arc. I don't like how the Shindai's babyface turned. And I know I did not watch the Zenkaiger crossover, but their babyface turn during the Zenkaiger crossover makes way more sense than their babyface turn in the main show and the main storyline. That was my biggest issue. Is I'm sorry, you see a fool who's about to murder a child. Literal murder.
The only thing that made you babyface turn is, oh, I'm not gonna call myself Master Logos anymore.
I'm Isaac now. I was like, okay, cool. That's all we need to know. Babyface turn. I'm like, wait, no, hold up. You already know what's coming. But final episode of Kamen Rider Saber deserves a Jim Cornetting. If I could just Jim Cornette one last time before we go into Revice, and for those who don't know who Jim Cornette is, watch wrestling. Just that's all you need to know. If I can Jim Cornette briefly, lazy booking, Toei, lazy booking. Like, Disaster's babyface turn made way more sense because you built up on the reason why he was fighting Ren for the entire time was to make him become his own dude. Be your own guy. Be your own man.
Be your own guy, my guy.
Yeah. Disaster's babyface turn up until his death against Ren made way more sense than the Shindai's babyface turning.
And after he did die, though, the way it got called back on was just
Psycho Crusher.
Like this is like if we got to Jim Cornette Spider-Man 3.
I hate you so much. I'm so glad your video's freezing right now, on and off. Anyways,
it is.
Yeah, you might want to come out and then come back in. All right. Overall, though, the final arc is spectacular from beginning to end. The Shindai's are the only thing that really irks me, but it is what it is. I give the overall show. I'm gonna give it a low 9 out of 10. It's a borderline 8, but I think because of how the story was told and how it honestly bounced back after the second arc, going into the third arc, and the ending, I thoroughly enjoyed Saber. It pissed me off from time to time, but it is what it is. I enjoy the show. I think it was a good sequel to Kamen Rider 01, which again, if those y'all who don't know, 01 is my first Kamen Rider season that I've ever finished. And I hold 01 to such high regards because of it being the first season of the Reiwa era. And again, y'all know how I felt about the penultimate episode.
Better?
Just saying, a little bit. Overall though, I give Saber a low 9 out of 10. It's not close to being a 10. It's a borderline 8, but I think the storytelling from the most part and the overall characters and the acting is amazing. And that's my short and sweet version. I already know this fool's gonna probably give it like a 7 or 8, but go ahead.
Okay, so if I could describe the season in one sentence, I would say this was Kamen Rider Legend of Korra.
Damn.
Because it's like I partly blame this on the pandemic, where at first they don't know where they're going with the season. For all we know, this could have been another 31 episode season, just like Decade.
Yeah.
Because it would have been difficult to film that many episodes, and we didn't know where we were going with, health wise and stuff. And yeah, things were starting to get better like in February because vaccines were starting to roll out. And of course, Japan is a much smaller country where everyone actually wears a goddamn face mask. Because they've been doing it before the pandemic. But yeah, so like Saber, like during the first arc, there was a massive issue with the pacing. Massive issue with the pacing. And I think it's partly because I feel like the writers for Saber just didn't know where they wanted to go with this or how to even approach the season because they have to be careful with guidelines. They don't even know what kind of budget they'd have. They probably wouldn't even know like they couldn't even predict what kind of toy sales they might have because let's be honest, like here in the US, like how can you expect to buy your kids a bunch of toys when you are getting laid off due to the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you people who bought a bunch of Nintendo Switches and try to scalp them, and certain theme parks that try to raise the prices on your things instead of okay. Point is they didn't know where they were going at first, but then once they got a better idea as to where they wanted to be, like how they wanted to approach it, you could tell there was subtle improvement. Like even Legend of Korra season 2 had its moments where like once we got to the Avatar 1 arc, things were starting to move uphill because at that point the writers knew where the show needed to go. And same thing with Saber. Now, of course, the pacing problems didn't end. They just happened less frequently. And I think pacing was the biggest problem with the season because even when you had good arcs, they either dragged on too long or ended abruptly in a very awkward fashion. And of course, okay, the characters, I like most of the characters. I actually like most of the characters. The Shindai baby face turn, I think I think we're in agreement there. But I actually but I agree with you that with the Zenkaiger crossover, that was actually a lot better because for all we know, maybe Reika was always the awkward, jealous type, and Ryoga was always clumsy, and they always try to hide those aspects of the personalities to look professional. Like that would have been fun and funny. Ren, I hated his punk butt for so long because like I wanted Disaster to become Kenzan just to be like, look, kid, I'm sick and tired of you. Let me show you how this is done. And then he plays what's it called? what's it called? That song by Charlie Daniels, the one about the devil in the barn house. I forgot.
Do 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 do
No,
do.
yeah, Ogami and Tetsuo, best characters in the show by far.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those are my bros. And again, because of the manga, the ending for Ogami, uh, but all the villains. Okay, I like Legiel. I like Zuos. Storius, not so much because his plot is my. Why is my work derivative?
Yeah, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people were really upset about that term.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay. If I went into full detail, we're gonna have to do an entire episode of our nighttime podcast. Just
That's fine. I
through
mean,
the whole season.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, we're bringing that back this week, so yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. So I have to keep it short and sweet. And so to keep it short and sweet, I give the season a low 8 because there was a lot of promise. There's a lot of good things. There's a lot of legitimately good things that I loved about this season. But a lot of bad things got in the way. Some of them were momentary, others were chronic. But I think we will never let down episode 36 because that was an episode that could have been a 10, but it turned itself into a 7 just because of one line of dialogue. One line can make or break a movie. Same thing with a TV show. I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, so let's go to the comments.
Yeah,
What'd you guys think?
we're gonna read a couple of them, and then we're gonna head out of here. All right, L'Oreal. The moment when they meet Iki was kind of weird. Yeah, it kind of was. It was like you would assume because so they. Oh, okay. You would assume because there's a humor gear in the audience. They're like, oh, you're from this side of Japan. Don't you have a Kamen Rider over there? Don't you have like multiple Kamen Riders? Don't you have like 4 Kamen Riders who recently just murdered the U.S. president of Zaya Industries? Look at watch out for our Metsubo G Ride review coming soon.
Oh,
and
wait
then
till you watch the X-Aid V-Cinex movies.
Bro. Thouser versus Evil X, that's gonna be lit. Anyway, but no, it was weird. I'll give you that. It's pretty cool that Kamen Rider Buster is gonna be a teacher. Hey, yes it is. Yes it is.
Like I said.
All right. Let's see. Dylan. Okay. Revice.
Yep.
That should just be his full name. Let me see.
Yeah.
RVR. Yeah, RVR. That would be great. I can vouch for you wanting to cry about Ogan being a teacher. I did too.
Yeah.
Rentaro. I think Rentaro was asking May to marry him. No, he wasn't. He was trying to see if he can go on a date with her because he's been trying to do it.
He's
since
bad at saying what he needs to say.
I mean, aren't we all? Aren't we all? Saber's my favorite season. The worst part is seeing a cool dude like my crush and his teammates go. I mean, they're not gonna leave. I mean, we still had that giant Super Sentai crossover coming, and then the V Cinema.
Yeah, we still got a VCNX movie, and they always come in pairs. So I'm pretty sure the Espada movie isn't going to be the end of Saber.
Yeah. Great to see you back, Leo. Thank you, L'Oreal.
Thank you. No, seriously.
Oh, hold up. Thank you.
I prefer Smog.
Thank you. The king is back. Wakanda forever. By the way, if y'all have not watched, please watch Marvel's What If. The Doctor Strange episode. Whoo! That's all I have to say. Still miss my man. Oh, I give this episode a B+. One Man Sentai was good. What's up? Y'all can, okay, for y'all who want to know, I've been snacking on these duo starbursts this whole time. So
you gotta let me try one of those.
I'll save some. I'll save some for tomorrow. because I do have to go to work after our big interview, which if y'all don't know, it's
Yeah.
gonna be at 1:00 Pacific Standard Time. We interview Samuel Benta from Power Rangers Operation Overdrive, and I cannot wait. I'm excited.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I've been watching some YouTube skits from what's called the Red Ranger James.
Mhm.
And honestly, like, I would love to interview him if we ever manage to book him. But also, I low key really want to rewatch Operation Overdrive because
Again,
I just haven't watched it in years, and I actually got a new DVD drive that I could hook up to my laptop. So
I mean, it's like what 32 episodes. You got like a whole. You got all night.
32 episodes. 32 episodes. I have it on DVD.
There you go. One Man Sentai. I didn't even
Netflix.
know there was a tie in the manga. How much is there?
Okay, for Buster, there's actually 6 volumes. Sorry, there's 6 chapters. The first 3 take place. The first 3 take place when he was still in high school, and the last 3 take place right before episode 3 of the show.
Oh, it finally started working. My bad. All right, and then L'Oreal, her writers. Shindai is number 8. Yuri 7. 6 May. She wasn't a writer. 5 Kento. 4 Ogami. 5 is Kento and Ogami. 4 Ren. 3 Rentaro. 2 Luna. Number 1. Okay, you're naming characters. You're not naming all the writers, but it is what it is. I still say my
Also,
number
why
1
is
is Ogami.
Disaster not in this list?
Yeah, why is Disaster not in this list? Your list is invalid. Anyway.
Yeah.
Guys, that is it for Kamen Rider Saber, and that is it for our brand new episode of the Rider Time podcast.
But while the season for this podcast may be over, the whole show isn't, because next week,
Revice.
I'm
gonna try to watch.
Revice.
I actually am excited to see what's gonna happen now. But with that being said, guys, it's good to be back. I'm going to try and make more of these episodes. I promise. And for those y'all who want to know, where is our 01 real-time movie review along with Saber? Funny that you mentioned that. Remember how we talked about how Toei does not like when we put up some of the videos and stuff? Well, apparently they didn't take too kindly to us doing live reaction to Revice, so I have to snap that off. So that will be uploaded this week for those y'all who want to know. But other than that,
I mean, we could do an audio only version. Section.
I mean, it will go on our SoundCloud though. But anyways, Mike, thank you for holding it down while I was in the tombs looking for King Arthur's book. Really appreciate it as always. Where can the people find you?
Yes, you could find me on Instagram at chrono_just_cosplay. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/BokenKabuto. And yes, been holding down the fort. And thanks for coming back.
I am back. And y'all can find me on Instagram and Twitter at @Rex_Fox. You can follow me on YouTube page, Rex_Fox. You can follow all my latest game content, which is coming back tomorrow. Twitch.tv/RecklessFox. And this Sunday, we're bringing back the Struggle Game podcast. Also, in honor of September, in honor of Shang-Chi coming out, this month is Superhero Month. We are reviewing Invincible. We are reviewing the Suicide Squad movie. We are reviewing Loki, Captain Falcon, Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and Black Widow.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, this month, do you know what might be coming out on HBO Max?
No, I forgot.
Test your might.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that, which reminds me, where is the 2021 review?
I'm working on it. Hurry up. Go through this past month.
Anyways, y'all can find me on all these social media sites. Until then, guys, thank you very much. This is Reckless Fox. Oh, this is Leo and Mike signing out. Henshin a go-go, baby.
And of course, don't forget to follow Morphin Network and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and be sure to check out our past interviews with with Tessa Rao, Hunter Dino, and of course, a bunch of other actors, some convention stuff, and of course, you could watch Zenkaiju reviews with Red Star and Quasar Red. You could watch the comic book reviews with Jen Pink, and of course, all of us together are going to review Dino Fury when new episodes come back.
Till then, guys,
enjoy your Labor Day weekend.
See ya. Bye, guys.
Carson's Corner is a black LGBTQ owned small business. They sell merchandise and apparel on pop culture franchises such as Dragon Ball, King of the Hill, Sailor Moon, and of course and most importantly, Power Rangers. If you're interested in getting their amazing merch, be sure to check them out at carsoncorner.com. Link will be down below.
Today's Morphin Network video is sponsored by Ranger Stop and Pop, which is now August the 27th to the 29th, 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia. And Ranger Stop Convention, which is now November 11th to the 14th, 2021 in Orlando, Florida. Go to rangerstop.com for more info.